Welcome to the One Take, Conversations with Global Mobility Leaders. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Helen Frew and Françoise van Roosmalen from the Permits Foundation. Welcome.
Thanks so much, Lynn. We're delighted to be here.
Yeah. So, Helen, can you share a few words about the mission of the Permits Foundation?
Sure. Well, Permits Foundation is an international not-for-profit organisation, and we carry out advocacy at government level to improve legislation so that the partners of an international employee can also work when in the host country. And what we aim for is direct work access so that the accompanying partner can work for any employer or carry out self-employment directly upon recognition of their dependent status. So with no extra hurdles and no need to apply, for example, for a separate work permit. And this is quite a specific issue, but as we all know, it's an issue that's really had an impact on global mobility. Increasingly, international employees won't choose to work in a country if the partner can't also work there. But where partners can work, then the country becomes a far more attractive business destination. Companies can attract and retain talent, and the employee experience is just far better. And our work is also about contributing to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Accompanying partners are predominantly women, although we do see a slight shift there in the numbers. And many international dual career couples are not married or same-sex partnerships. So the importance of partner work authorization is an issue that many employers are aware of, and it's why Permits Foundation is sponsored by over 40 international companies and organizations coming from both the public and private sectors. And governments are also recognizing the importance of enabling dual careers. And in the past 2 decades, over 30 countries have actually legislated to enable direct work access for accompanying family members. And Permits Foundation's research and advocacy work has supported that change in many cases.
So you have had such great success, and the work you do is so important because we've known for many years that family and happiness is a contributor to many failed assignments. So Françoise, you recently looked at this issue both from the point of view of corporate HR professionals as well as from the view of partners and spouses. So where do you see similarities and differences between how these two groups are viewing this issue?
Yeah, Lynn, an important part of our advocacy work is evidence-based. We periodically gather data, sometimes globally, sometimes in relation to a specific country. Given that the global mobility landscape has changed so much in recent years, also due to the pandemic, we conducted in 2022 a wide-scale survey to hear from both accompanying partners and international employees. To answer your question, Lynn, there were clear themes that emerged for both partners and employees. The results on both sides confirm that where there is direct, clear, and efficient process that allows partners to work in the host country, employers can better harness talent, countries become more attractive business destinations, and family experience improved health, well-being, and integration outcomes. I have some statistics from the 2022 survey that I would like to share with you, and that really illustrates this. I will just highlight a few because our survey, the result, the report is available on our website, and people can download the report there. But let me just highlight a few. 26% of partner respondents were considering leaving the host country due to work access restrictions. This was mirrored in the employer survey, where in 44% of organizations, employees had returned home early from an international assignment in the past 3 years due to concerns about partner employment. That shows why this is such a key issue. It is shocking when you consider the cost of a failed assignment for the employer and the impact on the family. Some themes remain the same. For example, accompanying partners should really be seen as accompanying talent. 88% of partners hold a bachelor degree or higher and have working experience in a broad range of sectors. With dual career families on the increase, the expectation pre-move is that both members of the couple should be able to work once in the host country. But the reality is, however, that we still face serious challenges there. Less than half of the respondents, so less than 50%, were in employment post-relocation. Of those not in employment, 84% would like to be. And it's clear that not working has negatively impacted the partner's mental health. We also asked partners and employers about the impact of the pandemic and lessons that could be learned. We know that international families are far more discerning about future assignments now and give more consideration to the host country's healthcare system and medical facilities. And there is an increased expectation of a duty of care on the part of the employer. The pandemic has also brought a spotlight on remote working, and this will be a significant issue for the foundation going forward. And finally, the issue that really stood out was the importance of partner support. It was clear that where companies engage with the whole family unit in the run-up to the relocation, that this is really appreciated and will have long-term gains. Employers are recognizing this. However, only 20% of partners were given the opportunity to discuss their employment and career concerns with their partners' organization. So more should be done there on opening the channels of communication on this issue.
It's such an important issue, and it's great to see you taking care and focusing on the spouses and partners. But where did children or other family members fit into kind of this puzzle or into the work that you do?
Yeah, this is an important question, Lynn. 94% of HR professionals, so the vast majority, you could say that family members should be authorized to work in the host country. But importantly, for most HR professionals, the definition of family members who are authorized to work should be broader, covering married and non-married partners, and for half of respondents, working age children, which you were asking about, Lynn. So we carry out our advocacy. Increasingly, we are making that point, that inclusive global mobility programs and destinations should have a broader definition of recognized members, family members. And there is a gender angle here too, Lynn. Though there are more male accompanying partners now, still predominantly accompanying partners are women, 76%.
So thank you. Helen, I was around 20 years ago when Permits was first established, and I am so delighted to see the work that you've done over the years. In my opinion, Permits is really one of the unsung heroes of the mobility community. As you mentioned, your work's opened the doors to spouses and partners working in over 30 countries around the world. So where are you focusing your attention in 2023?
Oh, thanks so much, Lynn, for saying that. And we really value that you are a part of one of the first significant moments in our history, just at the point that we began in 2001, when we worked with you in the US on the spousal employment bill for L&E spouses. That was such a game-changing moment. So you asked where we'll be focusing our attention in 2023. And I can tell you that our priority countries of focus will be the US, China, Singapore, India, Ireland, and South Africa. And these are destinations that are chosen because they are international business hubs, and they are prioritized based on the feedback that we receive from our network. Now, we do actually anticipate a better global outlook for partner work access in 2023, although I'll talk about the US separately. But with COVID restrictions lifting, many governments worldwide in addressing economic challenges, but they are becoming more openly positive about the role that legal migration can play in addressing skills shortages. So in some countries, policies to attract talent are being deployed, including relaxation of work permit regulations for partners of international employees. So accordingly, we actually start the year with a few pieces of good news. For example, in Singapore, the One Pass has now come into effect as a means to attract very top talent in key sectors. But it does allow spouses to access employment via the letter of consent, which is a route that had previously been restricted. So that's a good sign. And then turning attention to Canada, dependents of temporary workers of all skill levels will for the next 2 years be authorised to work. And legislation is also expected soon in Luxembourg. So we're hopeful that more countries will implement similar forward-thinking policies through 2023 as we continue our global advocacy. And then just looking ahead into the first quarter of 2023, we'll be active in Singapore, India, and Ireland. So for example, Françoise and I are meeting with the Singapore Ministry of Manpower at the end of this month, and we'll be making the case for improved partner work access in other employment pass categories. And in India, we are currently engaging with representation at ministerial level and also to EU officials involved in the current EU-India trade negotiations. But as the year progresses, we do also expect to be carrying out our work in the US, China, and South Africa. So looking at the US, clearly the environment for immigration reform is much harder right now than perhaps elsewhere in the world. Although we were delighted that work access for LNE spouses has been made incident to dependent status. But nevertheless, we will continue to advocate for a more efficient and direct system that would enable work access for all H4 and O3 spouses and other dependents. And we just mention this in line with global good practice. And if I may, just to sort of be able to demonstrate that good practice, I'd like to let your audience know about the Permits Foundation World Map of Partner Work Authorization, which is on our site. And this is an interactive map which allows you to look at a country and to find out where there is work access for dependents, what the legislation says, and also what Permits Foundation has been doing in that country. And what we also do is show which countries recognise same-sex marriage, where non-married partners can work, and also other family members, as we were talking about earlier. So we think this is a really useful tool, and we encourage your audience to take a look.
Yeah, your map is really a terrific resource, and so we will make sure that we link to that. Also, you know, Worldwide ERC, our Immigration Policy Forum stands ready to work with you to support the work that you're doing. But Françoise, if companies or mobility professionals want to further support your work, they can certainly work through us, but how else can they become involved with you?
Yeah, first of all, they can look, of course, we would like to direct you to our website, www.permitsfoundation.com. And should your company like to know how they can support our work and become a sponsor, please get in touch with us. I'm sure, Lynn, you would be happy to forward our contact details to them. I can't stress enough that the effectiveness of our advocacy depends on the support we receive from organizations like your audience. And as global mobility professional, you can share our message with your colleagues and achieve greater recognition of this important issue within your organization. It's a key success factor of international assignments, talent acquisition and mobility, and of course, DE&I.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing what you accomplish in 2023 and beyond.
Thank you, Lynn, for giving us the opportunity to speak with you at this one take, and we look forward to making progress together this year.